I to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now it's time for Paul Alt again,
Well,
and maybe we ought to, he suggested we do the new fence first, as long as you guys are here.
you guys are here.
So do you want to come on up?
Yeah, did you want to wait for Blaine?
What?
We probably want Blaine here.
Oh,
Okay. Well, we're laying millings down there, as you see, and we should be done with that either by tonight or by tomorrow, mid-afternoon. We'll be out of material. So then that just leaves us to cleaning the pad up down there. And Drummond called me and they'd like to do a few of their alleys and stuff, put a little lift on some alleys. And that'd be a good place to get rid of that material. And because it's damn close for one thing. And we would just use our own equipment for that, you know, because it's gonna be a slow process. But I don't know if we'll wind up doing that. Now we're waiting. We have to get out of there August 4th through the 10th because of the, they have a family reunion in there. So we may do it the middle of August or whatever. And I think probably that's what we'll do because we need to get blading roads. We need to get out to the Middle Fork and Willow Creek. We need to do it while there's still some water on through these ditches. So that's kind of where we're at with that stuff.
it sounds good with me.
Then we talked about putting gravel on Henderson Creek Road, the second part of that, doing another mile of that. And I'd like to do that right now when we have that big roller leased and all the trucks ready, because we could do it in a day and a half. But that's up to
Like
you
you said, it
guys.
was 14 grand for the.
Yeah.
So-
Just do 1,000 yards and then next year. Like last year, we did 1,000 yards, do another 1,000 yards, and then next year
What
finish.
are we talking about?
Right, Henderson Creek Road, up on that cobblestone road. Remember, we were gonna put millings on it, and we decided not to because it cost another 20,000 to chip seal it,
Mhm.
so
So, oh, you're talking about gravel.
just put gravel on it, yeah.
I think long as we have it, otherwise we gotta pay another 6 grand to get the roller back a little bit. You know, what I mean, they'll offset it, but we have it here. Might just finish them up and like I said, then you can get back to get grading.
Yeah,
But gotta do something back in this road.
well, it's just wrecking all on the plow trucks, because it's just solid cobblestone, you know. But it'll be the time to do it. We got the trucks here, we got that big roller here. Just knock it down and be done with it, you know. If you guys are good with that.
Go ahead and finish that one up.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Use the time.
We'll just do 1,000 yards, unless if 1,100 yards is gonna do it, we'll do 1,100 yards.
Right.
But we'll shoot for the 1,000, go from there.
So how many miles is that? Or is it, how many?
About a mile,
About a mile.
yeah, we got, a mile and a quarter or so to do, but you know, just,
And this is with our own stuff. Own equipment.
we'll use these other trucks so we can get it done. Otherwise, it'll take us a week to do it.
Day and a half.
Yeah, just. And we just use the 2 trucks we got, we'll be there for at least a week. Might not do it in a day and a half.
So you have a mile and a quarter to do?
Yeah, mile and a quarter, mile and a half.
Why don't you just get it done?
Well. I mean, we can.
I mean,
but-
if you have the materials and you have the,
Well, we gotta buy them all, you know, and,
it'd be one road completed.
right,
No,
What does that mean?
that means I go with what he was gonna do.
I mean, how much longer would it take to do the quarter of the half?
Well, it wouldn't take that much longer, but it can wind up costing another $8,000 or $10,000 in material. You know, that's kind of where we're at with it,
And the truck.
right? That's gonna be pretty minute compared to the, you know, the gravel itself.
So do we have the gravel or we have?
No, we gotta buy it.
I think I look and see how it looks once he gets going, it'll be next week anyway, and then we'll see what, maybe if Greg might just jump on and finish it. Just see how it looks and what it's coming out.
Oh, let's see where we're at after the 1,000 yards.
That's what I mean, go do the 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
See what it looks like.
Then there's a project completed.
Right. Well, if we're good for the first 1,000, let's do that first and go from there.
I think we should.
So we gotta talk about the snowplow. New snowplow.
Don't have any numbers yet. I've got 3 different people looking for trucks, and I know that it's gonna wind up being $55,000 to $60,000 down payment on one like we talked, and we put 60 in on the budget to make sure it would cover it. And that's kind of where we're at with that. I just don't have any hard numbers because I can't get one from anybody yet. So,
So we wait.
yeah, we just have to wait.
As soon as we get something, we gave him approval to go ahead, we just need to waiting on the sales, really.
I would leave it off the agenda until, as soon as I have a number from somebody, I'll get a hold of you and then we'll put it back on. If that works for you guys. Missoula, I talked to them and they said that the earliest they could ever get anything would be August of 2022. So they're only allotted so many trucks they can get, and they're all spoken for.
Which place is that?
Freightliner in Missoula.
I think just keep on with who we've dealt with, and then that way.
Yeah, they're
Then you'll not change all this,
right.
keep
Now
on
they're
with
looking.
what you're doing, and that way you deal with one, you don't deal with those bunch.
Might have something by next week, you know, but
Well, they know we're good, so they're,
Right.
they're looking a little harder.
other than that, that's,
You thought any more about the low maintenance or no maintenance roads? Which one?
I have not. But as soon as we're done with this stuff, then I'll go around some of them. Oh, but on that note, the Forest Service they're here and they're gonna blade, they're gonna start up at Black Pine, where you drop down into Henderson Creek. They're gonna blade that down to Sunrise. And that's pretty much where we blade anyway. And then they're gonna do Black Pine Road, but they don't have enough water. So I told them if they were gonna do the blading, we could probably get them a water truck to help water it, you know.
Hell, yeah.
And from there, then they're gonna go do some at Douglas Creek. So, and again, we could help them water that.
We never had.
Gets rid of a couple roads.
We never have heard back from Volvo, have we? Maybe we should need to send them a letter. We'd like to get on the agenda, see what the scheduling is, or what they're gonna do on that other end. They're gonna blow Rock Creek and some of that. Used to Bay Harbor where the name was used to come in, we always had schedule. It looked really good.
Part of that lower Rock Creek's not too bad. I just went across it yesterday. And some
I
of
guess
it's
that would be nice,
not bad.
nice to talk to them and see what's going on, 'cause they haven't been in for over 2 years.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
BLM lady, she was happy with disposing that road, but all went up without a sign up. That's gone. Anyway, she was all happy and they're gonna keep it. They moved the signs down a little bit, because people were still going, so they moved it down.
Which road we're talking about?
Garnett Road,
Hmm.
for the fire up there, trying to keep people out. They said they turned 5 people away yesterday.
They
There's
what?
signs down the bottom, too, saying road closed, so it's the BLM put all that up. That was from Maria, she called, so. Thank you. for getting that
Road closed doesn't mean anything. People are still gonna drive around it. Go see why it's closed.
on. I know, but she was happy and got right on it.
Any public comment on what Paul had to say?
I can't hear you.
I don't get
I
it
was
all.
just asking, was there any follow-up on the Rumsey Road at the last meeting? I talked about putting millings down.
We switched that to the airport and we're
Yeah.
doing
So
that
it's
right.
the airport that you're finishing.
Yeah,
So from the research I've done, the commission can potentially reduce the speed there to 25 on the Rumsey Road, but it's gonna be an agenda item next week.
Is this the one at 920? Is that the one?
no,
This.
Yeah, next
Oh.
week, the speed limit issue.
there's gonna be a speed issue on Rumsey Road. Once you get above there with them bikes. So much traffic.
If it works.
It's 25 minutes.
That's what I've seen so far, but I'm gonna keep looking at it, so yeah.
I just looked up that they, that the commission had this.
That's not mine.
I'm not sure anybody heard your discussion.
That she thought that the commission can like lower it like way down. That's not my reading of the statute, but I need to do more research.
I think we'll end up with more trouble if we get it that low. We're gonna have more trouble.
But
Well, if you
Something
drive
to
through Drummond at 30, you should be able to drive through that road at 30 or 25. I mean, there's kids this big on bicycles in every town, and the speed limit is 25 or 30. I don't think the county road should be slower than 25, for God's sake.
Right.
No,
That's what I said, I think we're getting more trouble having that whole. People will start passing each other, and if they want that, it's one's going 15 and.
any more public comment on what we just discussed? Well, I'm all for moving on to the new fence along the Rumsey Road right away. You want to come up?
so Betty came up and met with me last week, and she had concerns with the right of way fence that was just put in that potentially it's not it goes in and out of her property. It's and she did a diagram. I forwarded that to the commission. Her proposal was that either put it back all the way on the right of way line, or potentially pay for her portion of that fence, which was $5,000 approximately. I don't know if Paul was able to go up and look at it yet, or.
I was. And what it looks to me like is this, and I actually talked with the fence contractor, the first, about half of the fence, half of the road is roughly 30 feet to the center line. And then when it's got a slight corner in it, for some reason it gets to about 34 feet and then it gets wider that way. But almost anywhere you take from fence to fence is 60 feet. But it's like on the north side, it'll be, 24 feet. And on the south side, then it's 34, 35, you know?
I see what you're saying.
And I talked to Bill Workman about it today. And he's not sure how they got off like that, but when they, as soon as they made that corner, they just got fat on that side for some reason. And anyway, I told him I was gonna call him back after we get out of this meeting and see, you know, what the deal is.
So it
if
cost
they-
you $5,000 to do that fence? Or
There's
whatever.
a south fence and a north fence, and when you took out the cattle guards, you put in a south fence, the fence south of the highway. And it is consistently off from center line, between 4 to 5.5 feet from center line to where the fence goes. There is a small turn. And when you took the cattle guards out, I had an internal fence on the north side. And if there's no cattle guards, and there's calves in there, and they run cow-calf pairs, they could get out on that fence and either they'll be in an alleyway or they're gonna be on Highway 1, which is an endangerment to everyone, and I hate to see any of the calves be hit. So I wanted to reinforce my fence that I had as a pasture fence, because now it's becoming a boundary fence. So I asked Wortman, I called Paul and I asked Wortman if he would be willing to replace the fence or repair the fence to such a thing. So when they came in, they said, well, we need to move this online. So they moved it further north, my north fence, and they put in the south fence. And it ranges, instead of 60 foot, it's between 55 foot, and there's only one place that it's 60.4, but for the most part, the new fence on the south has taken off between 4 and 5.5 feet, all the way down. It's 1,150.
No, the first half of that it's very close to 30 foot in the center of the road.
We measured it, we've got video of it. We
I
went from
measured it
center
too.
line. Okay, well, then we're measuring with different measuring sticks, because we went right from the middle, and it goes between 34 and 35.6, so.
And a portion of it at least is off.
Absolutely. I mean, a bunch of it does, but not until you get past that, where it makes that jog.
I have to disagree, because when we measured it from center line, it must have been about maybe 15 yards in, it's 34 feet. So I mean, it's a big swath of grass that we're not, I mean, we can pull it out and survey it and put it back in, but that's a big expense.
I don't know. I've tried to measure those road fence lines from those
Really?
roads. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. Would you be willing if we paid for half of your fence? I mean, would you?
Well, I have a question. If they did the fence line wrong, can't they repair it at their own expense?
I'm sure they can come pull it out.
If they get it wrong and proven wrong?
And it's supposed to be at 30 feet, so. You know. You own both sides, is that right?
Yeah.
So if you're at 60 feet, aren't you still getting the same grass?
No, because on the south side,
Right.
pasture sizes are different. When you run it down. And it doesn't matter, it's not 30 feet from the center.
Well, I'm
So you
just
have
saying,
those options to either you have them put it back in, or it's
it isn't
consistent
the error
there.
of the county, it's the error of the fencer. If the fencer's made an error, why can't he fix it? I mean, why should the county, because the fencer made the error, have to pay for your fence? No offense.
No,
Like
no.
that,
I-
your
I-
fence, no offense.
And my position is that I had to incur the cost, it wasn't in my budget to put in a boundary fence. And then when they came to put it in, they didn't replace it where the fence was. They went further. So I mean, I lost on both sides because the cattle guards being pulled out. They put my internal grazing fence further north, and they put the south fence on it, so I've lost all that grazing.
your thoughts, Scott? I mean,
So they're removing cattle guards, paying at great expense, it sounds like. When you say,
But would we just change the cattle guard out and let the fence the way it was then? I mean,
It didn't, on the north side, didn't they just put the fence where the old fence was?
No,
No, they moved it to supposedly right away. But it's not on right away.
Well, like I say, we're gonna be arguing about that forever, because
Right.
I've tried to do that. And it's tough to measure from the center line, I guess, where the
So
center
we have to
line.
measure every foot,
Yeah.
every foot.
And get it perfect, so, I'd be willing to pay for half the fence. All good. Me.
Well, if you'll pay for half of it, we'll have a sturdy fence that'll at least keep livestock out.
The what?
We'll have a fence that'll keep livestock out on both sides. It won't keep the public safe and keep the livestock safe.
Let me think.
Well, I'm just saying, okay, if,
What's gonna cost us? more
Yeah,
to
this
have
is-
them
this is-
redo it than what we-
why would it cost us more if they made the air? Why wouldn't they have to fix their air?
Because they're gonna say that they put it on the, it's gonna be a big fight again.
Yeah.
You know, Like I say, I mean, it's tough to do.
I think you're right, Chuck. I think trying to get it resolved that way, because we haven't surveyed it, we're just going, which best evidence is where the road lies, but to get it exact, I think they're compromised here.
Yes, I'll settle it, and we'll get it over with, bringing it in every week. I mean, it seems like we're getting damn good bids, better than it was before.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
happy
well,
with the
I
one
was
that
up
was there
there.
actually. and
I
I
had
put
to
it-
fix part of it because the car bumped in, well, I know what it was, so I know it wasn't the best thing. So
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new fence, and no cattle guards, which is gonna be better the county. And the people,
So one question, your fence was 5,000? And you'd accept 2,500?
Well, half of it,
Yeah, probably whatever.
it was 20. 5170, almost 52.
So is there gonna be a motion?
they could go ahead and I'll make the motion for it and give it $2,500 and call it good, and let's move on. I'm tired of hearing about it.
25 or is it half?
25. I just said, I don't,
I'd say 26 and probably good.
It's 26.
26? I'll second it.
Any public comment? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioner. Sorry for the trouble.
They should come down.
we're totally done with this road, right? The fence, we ain't gonna hear more about it. It's all done. This week. I guess I want somebody else now that we're paying her, and then somebody else can come and say, well, shit, we paid her.
You do
now
have
let's pay
Those
somebody else.
agreements in place, but yeah, those agreements are still.
Okay,
So we need to get a motion for that we're gonna get 1,000 yards of gravel out of Benson's gravel pit.
Yeah, I started making the jump. So
why Benson?
It's the closest one down there, and that's where we got the other stuff when we did the first mile.
I'd make a motion.
I'll second.
Any public comment? No. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And one more quick thing is I'd like to get it in the paper that for bids on 1,500 yards of sand for both shops. So we can get that underway too,
Okay, for winter.
for the hall shop and for the Beaver shop for us on sand.
We usually haul that ourselves.
We're definitely gonna haul it ourselves.
Would it be 3,000 total or?
3,000 total, yeah. So whatever we want to work.
I can,
Put that in paper.
I can draft it up and get it.
And then we usually put that in there. Delivered price and a non-delivered price.
Okay,
Yeah,
you know, with the county as the option for all of them, so, because we'll definitely haul it ourselves.
so if it's 2 weeks in the paper, wouldn't be until next week, so like probably the second week in August, is that too?
No, that's fine. I just want to get it. So when we have time, we can start hauling.
You need something like you were talking about one time about getting some sand from Knife River down there at Rockford. You need something on that where maybe we can talk and see what it is. We're right there and call it over.
Well, I'll call them. They'll get us a
That's right. I'm
price.
just saying that so it's on the motion there.
I-
and check into that.
Yeah, I've already got a price from them, but
What do you wanna call it, like good quality road sand or what do you?
yeah,
what's it, in the definition?
so we need a motion for that.
That's just a
Daily business.
daily business.
man, did we get something in the paper about any new fencing going on? It's gotta be 30 feet.
I've got to work on wording that.
Okay,
I wasn't sure how to word it.
that's all I got.
Meaning,
Okay.
if you're having issues with fence in the right of way or what would you propose a concern?
Yeah, just. People always want to build as tight to the road as they can build, and then we can't plow snow. It's just that simple, you know.
Just
It's a very common thing. And we gotta be able to get rid of our snow.
Need to get that in right away.
Do you even
Build more and more fence.
Yeah.
Closer.
want to ask them to come talk to you so that you can come out there and meet with them or just say, please,
You just need to be in there, that says it's gotta be,
yeah, okay.
30-foot center. You're not right away 60 feet, so
3 feet from the center.
and it's a bear cat. You gotta measure every feet if you're gonna have the exact. At least this,
Any public comment on anything we talked about? Guess
all
you're
right, I
done.
guess I'm out of here, unless you guys got anything else.
Thanks.
You bet. See you later. You too.
See you, Paul.
We'll be off till 9:45.
I think it's
Okay, we're gonna open her up and talk about a previous issue and Blanchett and the amendment to the
Or just, it could be a new motion.
or new motion.
okay. I'd like to make a motion on the 2,600 that we are going to give Betty Munis come out of the comprehensive fund as a contingency. Because it is an agreement between both the county and her. And we're giving her 2,600.
One second.
I'm just thinking that it actually could be considered that
Yes, it
because
is, yeah.
Okay.
And you guys could have been tougher on it, but I think Chuck was right. I mean, I think that's a tough one. to have that Perfect fence.
Well, I think that in the long run, it's gonna cost us more than circling around trying to survey it and make sure this way, I just want.
well, my thought here is with the fencer that didn't do their job correctly. That's just. They should
It's
be,
so hard to do, I mean,
Yeah.
to order you have to measure every foot, and I don't know how she did it, she was doing calculations, her calculations.
You know,
Well, we're
you'd have
just-
to survey down the center of the road to get the center, true center line. And then come off with that on both sides. It's tough.
Yeah.
Got a brand new fence out of it, for half price. I mean, the fence before was not good.
And
Anyway,
what I would encourage is in a minute, say that she's agreed that the fence may stay there as with this payment. So it's gonna stay where it is.
any comment? Seeing none, all in favor of Blanchard's motion, say aye.
Like,
Aye.
it's good. I agree. Just a bad deal, I mean, it gets a nitpicky on the deal there. The contour of the road, and I can't let it take there, it should even with an eye thing.
Sorry.
I guess one like Chuck, if I shoot it even with an eye, and that is, they're just contour, depth, you know, it's. Try to lay a tape out there and it slows down. you know.
So she's, how many feet is she losing grass?
For her calculations, she had like over 1,000 feet per feet there.
It's done.
We're going off till 9:45. Okay, now it's time for Georgetown Lake. Outflow. Discussion, decision.
Roll down to 10, I can make a motion to leave as is. I mean, we have to. Don't think we have no choice.
I'll second.
Any
I don't
pub-
think the discussion is just moved right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we just gotta pray
There's
for
like
rain.
1,000 CFs down by Flint Creek Bridge that nobody's using. Adam Park going yesterday was wondering why other people aren't grabbing some of that water. Down there, he said there's quite a bit of water down there.
Hmm.
He said they got more water than they need.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They say it's funny that people aren't picking it up, so I don't know, without these people having the right measuring device, that's their own fault. You know, they gotta get that in there, and then they can actually say, well, they're taking this, I'm only getting that, and then they have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. I just stay the way they are, 30 and move on. I talked to Brad Learman, I did see him Saturday or something. Anyway, and he said we're doing a good job with the water, so.
Any public comment?
Nothing on Zoom.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Off till 10. Local resident Bill Wyatt to discuss the intersection of Highway 1 and Black Pine Road, asking commission to submit a formal request to MDT to conduct a speed study, discussion and decision. Is that you? Want to come up?
Here.
You can both come up if you want.
I'm gonna give you a microphone. There you go. If you want, you can.
I'm a hearing impaired veteran myself, so you'll have to be patient with me there.
I can't hear either.
What'd you say?
I can't. There you
I
go.
hate that joke.
So,
The older we get, the more we hear it.
I can give you a little bit of an update on this stuff. I was on the last one when they did the Maxville one, and then they tried doing another one, the one in front of the Sunshine. I was a commissioner then.
okay,
The whole deal is, we had the DES guy who went through, Mike Cooney was the main guy in Helena. And in order to get a speed limit restriction that, they gotta do the study and there has to be pretty much a depth before they will do it. It's a long haul trying
we
to get.
understand that, yes, sir. And, I sent a letter of instruction to, actually emailed Billy.
Yep, and I gave it to the
Billy?
commission
Okay.
last week.
So and it's an elongated process of steps and so forth. First would be a list of names in that vicinity, Black Pine and just north and south. We have 4 critical driveway entrances to that area other than the Black Pine entry and exit. And so we have a petition of names. We are one of those driveways. So for the 11 some years we've been here, it's definitely has traffic has gotten worse and so forth. So we're having difficulty entering and leaving our driveway because of the speed on that section of road. Obviously, there must be some speeding because the sheriff parked right across from our driveway to catch various speeders.
So are you having trouble getting out of your driveway or getting on highway one?
Both entry and exit out of our driveway to Highway 1. So, and so
How far up Black Pine do you live?
We're not on.
we're not on Black Pine, we're on Highway 1.
I'm not sure where you live.
We're one of, say, 4 critical driveways on that east side of Highway 1.
Okay.
And so Black Pine, of course, is to the west. And so we have a list of names from people in Black Pine, and plus the 4 families there in that driveway right there at that critical vicinity. So at that point, understand exactly what you're saying about speed studies. I'm very familiar with that over in Stevensville, where we're from. And 85 percentile study presumed it will be what David Welch, I think is the name of Ralph, I'm sorry, David Ralph. He seemed to be in charge of that at MTD in Helena. So, 85 percentile study, are you folks familiar with that? It's, they'll take the study of probably up to maybe 100 cars, and it'll be a covert study. They'll park somewhere and take a radar study, and so and that simply means that the top speed in that 85% of that study will probably where they've set that speed limit. So so that could possibly fall down to around Maxville, something like that, or 60 or something. They also consider roadside friction driveways, et cetera. So, and, and you said elongated study, I would say you might see if something worked out that they wanted to change the speed limit. It could be a year before you see any posted signage.
No,
And that would be what they would be responsible to put that up.
And then you have to go over and sit in there. They have a big meeting and you actually have to, if you're the one that's pushing out, you have to go over there and sit in the meeting when they have it all. And then you gotta have all the specs and, Henry Barsetti, he's moved away, but he was the one that got the one changed last time. And I mean, he put lots and lots of time and it ended up, yeah.
The max,
Where was
Maxville,
that at?
Yeah,
Maxville is 60,
The
and
max.
that's the result of that one.
Maxville,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it took
okay.
probably 2 years,
yeah, so,
but
and that's where it is. Stevensville was, it's an unbelievable area now. I'm talking back 30 years. My son was killed on his bicycle back there, which enhanced me to get into highway safety, et cetera. So trying to drop speed limits, particularly if you got a speed limit that's already supposedly high, to get it lowered can be difficult. But
there is
letter from-
chances. I mean, it's not a no, but I mean, I'll tell you, better have to be ready because it's a lot of work trying to get, I mean, it's just,
well,
I totally agree with him, and I think we should do whatever we can to lower the speed limit on that highway.
Well, it looked
At
like-
certain points or whatever, but most of it is 70 is still way too fast because they drive 80. And, you know, they come off that freeway and 80 they're going, and we gotta do something. And I agree with you.
Well, the other point is, coming from either direction, there's a hill, just enough of a hill that
Exactly.
somebody could be right there, you're coming out of your driveway, and at 70 or 75 miles an hour, they're on you before you
Exactly.
get a chance
See,
to
and
get
if
out.
you can get pictures of that stuff and that, when they ask you to come to that meeting, it'll make it so much easier
Okay,
for
mine
you.
is an excellent photographer, so we're good
I'm
there.
just saying, I'll give you a heads up that it's, there's a lot of stuff that we can get.
Well,
That
after
we
we,
learned going through with Henry Barclay, we didn't know about, didn't we, Blaine? It was,
Well, that got ugly with Henry and, that, members on that commission kind of came after him personally, so it got pretty ugly. But he stood his ground and.
Had
yeah,
there
got
been a
it.
death
60
there in, near Maxville, was that?
Yeah,
There was a
either,
death?
both sides of Mac, yeah, he hit 60 there,
right by
probably,
that Boulder Creek thing,
yeah.
right by the bridge, and then you come up to the top of the 6, and then it goes back up to 7. So, I mean, it's doable, it's just,
yeah, well, this is the first step, as Mr. Ralph is directing us. This is the concerned parties of that area.
the more you can get to sign a petition, the better off you are. He went through the whole part of Maxville, I mean, he had names, and he did a really good job. You have to have all your ducks in a row, one, because that's why they come after him, because he said one thing like that, no, remember, it was a big blow up.
Henry at that commission hearing was very stern and adamant about things and they
Yeah.
some didn't like it there. I don't know the full.
How long ago was that?
2 years now, 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3. But it took a couple of years to get, but he really went after it. He was on some other thing, he knew what he was doing, so, and I don't know where he moved away.
There was an accident or two right there at the corner of
Mhm.
Maxville Road and
That's
Highway
what
one.
it takes an accident to get something done, and that sucks.
Well, I don't think the people would be opposed, it's just something they have to do, and if there is apparently the traffic investigations in Helena have to determine that the speed standard study is required. But the second step from this list of names would be that it looks like you have to, local government submit the formal request for a speed study to like Mr. Ralph here and the Department of Transportation. So that's what we're just trying to start this and could proceed on with that. So then,
And we can
is there a particular application or you just send them a letter? I do not know.
I think it's a letter to get it started that we're in favor, and then they'll start sending you all the stuff, and you'll be the one in charge of doing it all, but I'm sure that we get a letter of, that support that lower this speed limit coming into this twice as many people in that little hill, and there's been accidents, and there's actually elk crossing there more now than there's ever been, 'cause people are hanging down there. There's a lot of, you just gotta have everything to go at them with. They're just, well, we don't know.
So I'll give you, this is the original list here. Would you like that or Billy?
I can
Okay.
get a copy of it. or two, so
Yeah,
you have a
that's-
copy as well.
You can keep the original, we have copies.
Oh, okay.
I guess one of the questions that comes up is the cost on it, because there's a subsection on it that if they don't put up the cost, then the county could ask for it and do the cost of that study. Not sure what those cost.
Well, usually the state did them last time,
Yeah.
the state did them, they put up them counters and the speed, and then they go back and look to see how many tickets were given in that area, with the highway patrol and the county sheriff. And they had up them counters just of what the traffic has actually tripled up here compared to what it was. And that's another big thing, if we can get a counter, the state come out with, they'll bring a counter out, it'll help. It's a long haul, but I mean, I'm in
You
support
gotta
of
start
helping it.
someplace.
I just, there ain't a lot we can give the,
We first came here.
We need a motion to have the letter.
We could lay down in Highway 1 for 10 or 15 minutes, and nobody run over you. That would 11 years ago, so I don't believe that works now.
No. Never record, but I know. the travel strip.
You used to say that about Stevensville years and years ago.
We're-
Not
I wouldn't
anymore.
recommend that at all.
No,
What was your thinking getting it lower to, or did you see have that through?
Represent,
Probably 60.
Like, how fast would you want it drop to?
well, you know, that doesn't make any difference what we want. Whatever that speed, that 85% top, that pool of figures right there, they're gonna take that top speed, and then there's gonna be some in that 15% above. So they're gonna consider roadside friction, hopefully, and they'll possibly drop that. And so, they may not drop. So it's a speed study. I've done one myself personally, and it's not an easy thing to do.
You know, another, I didn't mean to cut you off, you know, another route that you could go that would might help you big time, that school bus, get a letter from them. Cause when they come up over there and trying to turn and go down that, then people are slamming and sliding, there'd be
Yeah.
another option for you. To get them on board too, if you can get a letter from them saying, man, we need some help, we're gonna have a lot more.
School may do it too.
Isn't there a place down by you that should be lower, Blaine?
Well, they
Line,
did lower it right there where, you know, you go to the park, they lowered it right in there. The issue at our place, people running by school bus stop. The stop signs, so,
Right.
but they put up signage and they're patrolling more and people are more aware, but they're even, this past school year, there was, I think, at least 2 citations written for going by the, yeah, people distracted. But, yeah, so getting something from the Phillipsburg schools would be a good.
cause I know in buses, they've had a lot of problems with people coming over that little hill and they're trying to turn and people turning, and you got other people coming on black line in front of them. Yeah, I think just get all your ducks in a row. I mean, I'd make a motion to give you a letter of support.
Well, who's your commissioner that just retired?
Bill Slaughter?
Slaughter.
Yeah, I talked to him last fall and trying to get some preliminary language there. He more or less said it was kind of a lot of work from me, but the commissioners would support it. So any letter of support would be good there to go along with this list of names here. So
Get as many names as you can, cause they,
still there has to be some kind of application made to MDT to request this study.
they have a form for that. You can get through Helena that you're requesting that is lowering the speed limit. I know that Henry, he got all that stuff over there, and then he had to go out and meetings and try to, you gotta be there to support yourself. And right in front of the main guy, say, hey, this is what's happening.
So your motion would be for supporting a study but not requesting the study, is that?
Yeah, and so it's, but I think that by the instructions from Mr. Ralph, the ball would kind of be in your court to make that application.
So why can't we request it?
The county can request it, so that's the distinction, if you're requesting the study or just supporting the reduction in speed there, that would be it.
I'd request it.
Motion.
I mean,
Request, you have.
It's obvious it needs to be done.
So that's what, in his letter and email, that you would request that speed study. And I would have said there was more over there than just Mr. Ralph, so, and
You might,
that would go to that traffic study, so somebody would come out and say, we don't need it, or we do need it. And so all the support, I assume, is great, but still, it's up to these folks in Helena to do that study, so.
you just got to convince them.
Yeah.
So it's-
And I'm not, it's,
Blaine, you got something?
So yeah, I think the one issue would be requesting it, and then if they say know, is the county willing to pay for the engineering study? That's the question. So I think right now you potentially request that they do the study, but do it at their own expense and see what they say.
Cause they should have all that anyway.
So we gotta get on with the motion, so
The motion is to
Let's-
request,
clean up the motion here.
a formal request to Montana Department of Transportation to conduct a speed study.
The
Okay.
engineering and traffic investigations.
Sorry, you motioned it then?
Well, he motioned it, but then he motioned to support it. I'm motioning a formal request to Montana Department of Transportation to conduct a speed study.
And you're second. Okay. I just wanna make sure.
Okay, any public comment? Yes, there is. Elena?
Thank you, Elena Gagliano. First of all, I want to commend you guys, Mr. and Mrs. Wyatt, for doing this letter. We live up Black Pine, and there's a lot of people up here that have experienced this problem for years. We'd like to sign a petition. I think even though the commissioners are willing to send a letter requesting this, I think the more documents that you have attached with that letter, the better off we'll all be. I've been living up here for close to 20 years. The grass grows high on that exit, the intersection. If you have a compact car, you can't see above the grass. That hill is a problem there. Just the other day, if we're not in a truck in the compact car, we don't see anybody. We get on Highway 1 and there's a semi doing more than 70 miles per hour right on our tail. We don't even have time to gather speed. He passed us and there was an oncoming car in the other lane. I just want to remind everybody that there is a speed limit of 55 just before Phillipsburg and past Phillipsburg. That didn't take very long to put up. There was an accident there. If anybody recalls, that was years ago. And that 55 mile per hour speed limit went up real quick. So I can't see why there would be any problem in extending that 55 mile speed limit to include the Black Pine intersection and maybe just before that hill.
I think you wanna make sure that go through
Thank
that.
you.
I think, Elena, you wanna make sure you go to the other side of the hill so everybody's included. You don't wanna leave them last couple little driveways out. You might as well try it.
That's what I just said, Scott. I said to include before the hill, beyond the hill. And again, Mr. Wyatt, thank you for including the letter from the Department of Transportation, which gives all the steps needed. It was very informative. Thank you. And maybe I'll get in touch with you or you can get in touch with me because I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you again.
Okay, thanks. Any other public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. So we'll do the letter.
Who was that
Who's the
making
lady
a
on the-
comment?
Who was the lady making the public comment?
Elena Degler.
Oh, okay, I know who she is. I don't know her, but I know who she is.
Well, we gotta move on,
Well, the
so,
letter would come from the county. You want me to work with Billy
Yeah.
and I'll help Billy?
And then we can have it on the next agenda and get it out.
Thank you very much.
sounds good. We gotta move on, so hey, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate the time.
I think we may go to Helena and meet with this gentleman.
What's
And,
that?
I think Bill and I will go to Helena and meet with this gentleman and,
Okay,
you know, what he puts in the letter is one thing, but, you know, what are all the little things that aren't in there.
okay,
So
sounds good,
thank you
thanks.
very much for your help. We appreciate it.
I'm not trying to scare you, it's just a lot of extra.
Oh, no, that's, we need to know those
Okay,
things.
yeah, and that's, if you guy could ever figure out how to get hold of Henry Barsadi or how. to
Yeah,
say it,
Barsadi.
He knows all the little spots to go into town.
Where is he?
He moved out here, he hated it.
Okay, we're into the time for county, no. Contract to have Dell conduct
Got 'em in your number?
ODSP audit in conjunction with FERC Part 12D inspection. Discussion and decision.
It's something that looks to me like you have to do. I just didn't understand it that well, but I guess Blaine might be able to explain a little bit better on this, so this letter on the amendment to standard agreement, it says 22, but it can go up to 68. You don't have that?
No, I don't.
Oh. I just don't here. I just don't understand. I know it's stuff, but it's a.
But Billy said the 68.7 includes
I'm wondering if it includes the part 12D,
the 12D.
since it goes up.
So this is, you already have a agreement with them for the current part 12D, so this is doing stuff from the previous, finishing that up. Well, I think what,
So the total can't exceed 68.
yeah, I think what he's saying is that they don't specifically know how many hours they're gonna have on it.
So this proposal right here on, it's 22.7. This is saying what they're.
Good, what they expect it to be done, but then there's a lot of times they add things, but,
Maybe we should table this for next week.
Yeah, I think that could be-
So
I
does
think
this
they
have to
could-
be signed before Thursday or?
This was
I don't remember, you guys can definitely
No.
ask him for details on this.
I think you have some time on yeah, that's not worded the best, because it should be, this is what's foreseen, if anything, and it's X, Y, and Z, if anything above that, then it's,
Not to
Yeah.
exceed.
but this is kind of, it's too
So what-
broad.
So what they're saying then is that they're saying 22.7 on their fee schedule. And
So what happens is they submit things, and a lot of times then FERC says, okay, now that we got this, we need extra.
Yeah.
And so they're in a bind. This should say they'll do it for 22,700, but then anything extra that FERC is asking for, there's a additional fee.
so are
Do
you
guys wanna
saying,
Call Jeremiah?
just a second, Billy, are you saying that we should budget it at 68.7?
I agree with trying to tweak this a little bit so that you guys have a
More understanding.
more understanding. For sure, it's gonna be 22,700,
Yeah.
but we could have
That's like,
language in it that says, yeah, FERC comes back and asks for additional documentation, more work on their part. Then it'll be
I
negotiated.
don't wanna leave 40-some thousand sitting out there, where then they can just go.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't know what either they're talking about, you know, I mean,
So this, I would get it, express their concerns to Jeremiah, and they can hopefully
yeah,
tweak it and be back on next Tuesday.
because this kind of says to me, 22.7, but we can triple it to 68.
That's why I didn't wanna.
It's too
Yeah.
broad, but
Yeah,
so we'll table this till next week and we'll talk to Jeremiah on Thursday.
So if you can get a hold of Jeremiah and just have it kind of be ready for it, please. Thanks.
and so this is for next year?
no, this is
Those are
not
now.
what needs to be done right away. We have a deadline on that. I think it's even a potentially December deadline, so
Oh,
this is
okay.
one that needs done.
So it's nothing to do with our Thursday.
No,
Okay.
well, they may remind you that it needs done, but you can tell them, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
work with
working on it.
Dal.
We have a person to do it for
Yeah.
us. We're still negotiating.
Correct. And all they'll do is remind you, I mean, every time they're on the phone, they remind you about it.
Yeah.
That's what those
Yeah.
phone calls and everything on the meetings are for, is to remind you what you agreed to do. You guys get your ARPA monies yet?
Some initial stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is. Yeah, we have not.
Can you get some emails? I'm trying to find them. I know.
Sometimes
See your phone.
things interfere with something.
So Billy, we've received some ARPA funds.
We have received 328,160.
Did Sarah set up a special fund just for ARPA? What, do you know what the fund number is? I'll run right in here. I want to get one more question.
Hurry.
I think
Honors.
these battered triple A's are dead.
What
What's
are we
happening?
calling them then?
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I just changed
Calling
them this
him.
morning.
He won't answer, so I'll see what kind of plan he wants to make.
But I think I put in the rechargeable ones, you didn't want that one charged.
Just
Who did I put in new ones?
No, Energize it.
Oh, I put in new ones and I opened it back.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
it's not better.
Who knows? Who knows?
They won't make it work. Okay, that way, sounds good, and I'll keep it on it.
Are we ready? No, guess Blanchett.
Oh, these batteries in his. How many double A's? Double ones that you're wrong.
I'm in that bag.
Oh,
Move on, huh?
Yeah. You guys want to come on? Come up? Well, it's time for county ARPA allocation discussion with towns.
I let Jeremiah.
So what do you need?
Sorry.
Okay, I'd like to thank the commissioners for the opportunity to appear before you today. I have a very brief written request here that I'd like to read to the commissioners and for myself and for Mayor Leaper, so I will proceed. Honorable Commissioners, we've come before you today to request for an assignment of ARPA funds. It is our understanding that Granite County has been awarded a sum in excess of $500,000. The funds that we are referring to are the ARPA Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, direct payment to counties. It is also our understanding that these funds are restricted for the use of water and wastewater projects. This being the case, it is our considered opinion that these monies could best be allocated directly to the town of Drummond and the town of Phillipsburg, given the fact that our towns are where the wastewater system and municipal water systems are located. Also, given the specified use for this money and the obvious need for our respective towns, in addition to noting that our combined populations constitute approximately 50% of the total county, it seems logical to proceed in this manner. As shown, as a show of good faith and an acknowledgement of the unified perspective regarding the county as a whole, the town of Phillipsburg would be totally supportive of an even split of these funds between Phillipsburg and Drummond, should the county choose to respond to this request in a positive manner. In closing, we would like to take the opportunity to thank the commissioners for creating a positive working environment and facilitating open and candid dialogue between the towns and our county.
So what's how much again?
They want all of it.
Well, we're requesting the sums specifically based on our understanding that they are restricted to water and wastewater projects.
No, that's not totally true. And
Okay, and
we found out that we can use it for the elevator, for the disability, ADA Disability Act, and that's kind of a important thing as far as I'm concerned. And
Relying upon what like NACO is sending us, and yeah, they're sending it broader, there could be a COVID response.
I don't think they're referring to our ARPA funds, they're referring to our
To-
minimum allocation.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
okay,
thank you
so
for
yeah.
that. Yeah, I anticipated there would be some confusion because this is really confusing. And I'm here to adjust any kind of definition or whatever to be specific about the request. But I know that there is a sum of money that is restricted to water and wastewater.
I'll show you guys what we get for our minimum allocation. This is really confusing. So we got our ARPA funds. So think of it like we got our ARPA funds from Department of Treasury. There's a whole nother pot of money that went to the state. So there's this pot of money that went to the state. It's legislated through House Bill 632. And this pot of money that went to the state, there's two pots. There's one pot that went to minimum allocation to counties. There's another pot that goes to competitive grants through counties and towns. This minimum allocations to counties is all counties, as long as you are applying for a qualified water sewer project, you can get access to this money. I just pulled up Granite County's minimum allocation grant is $500,000. Our matching requirement is $164,000. In this, as long as we are applying and we can partner with towns to apply for these funds, as long as it's a qualified expense, they will give us that money. Under the grant program, there's two different deadlines, I believe, to apply. One was July 15th, and the next one, I think they're still trying to figure out if there's going to be a second qualification time. But those are ones where you have to match, and there's going to be a prioritization of projects, and it's competitive. And those are all cities and towns can just apply for those. So it's very complicated.
The other one's
But that's-
broadband, right? So
Yeah, and
broadband's
there's
another
broadband's
project
another.
we go out, but
So-
for a grant.
But that's kind of.
so are
a-
we still getting the ARPA money that we were gonna use for the
Yep.
elevator?
That's
This would be-
separate,
This is, yeah, this
totally
additional.
separate,
Is it totally separate?
totally.
So we
separate.
can still do the jail, we can still do the,
That's our ARPA funds that we got from the Department of Treasury.
and do we have this $500,000 in?
So it is, the state has it, and it's legislated through House Bill 632, and this is the money they're referring to. They're not referring to any of the money we got from the Department of Treasury.
This is
Who's
one where you
gonna-
couldn't, you can't use the dam or anything.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah.
the real, yeah, very, very.
And I think, let me see, I can bring up on this, if you can bring up.
So on the max, if we get the 500, the county's gotta come up with the max 164 is. How can we use that to pay it off, you know, if we're. is
There's
there
in kind,
kind?
there's in kind, yeah, in kind.
But I mean, on what? We don't do just the county.
So I'm assuming that town, like, town crews, labor would be included in that, so. That, I think you could get up to 164 pretty quick.
Why can it get, or both here, why don't the city go for this stuff? Or can they or can't they?
We have,
We have.
I mean, I'm just.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we have,
understand it, So.
We just spent the last 10 days, particularly last week, putting all of our stuff together for what was available for town. And we put in requests for in excess of $6 million. This particular pot of money that we're talking about through the House bill, that goes directly to the county should they decide to apply for it. And it's restricted to sewer and water. We thought that if we could work together on that and use you folks as a pass through, and then we would definitely have better matching money for the water projects coming up. And so it's available, I guess, is our thing. And I understand, I'm right there, it's very confusing. And so thank you for that, for that
I think it's
distinction,
a
because, yeah.
use it or lose it, basically.
Exactly.
The county
It is.
has it there, and if the county doesn't have a project, then someone else will come
Right.
in with a project.
Okay,
But you do have some time.
this little group here, that's the 550,000 or 500, whatever the chat here, we haven't applied for yet. And what you're asking is for us to apply for this, and
Yes,
it go directly to the counties. And but the county has to apply for it to get it.
Like, it
yes.
would come, I think it would, well, we gotta figure that out, it probably comes to the county and pass through.
It does.
Yeah, and it passed through, understand.
You're on track right now.
Yes,
the way you're
yeah.
analyzing it, yeah.
Okay, so we have to do that, and when's the deadline for that?
We have some time. I
Yeah.
think it's like January
I-
2023.
Yeah, this
It does.
stretches out a ways, and so I guess for us, for Mayor Lieber and myself, we knew this was hovering around out there, and we also know you guys forget about what's on your plate, you got a platter of stuff, obviously, and so we just wanted to have an initial conversation about the possibility of maybe working with you guys. And since it is sort of set aside for the county, as long as we activate the application process,
Yes.
we feel like we should go after it.
Yes.
In a unified way.
And
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just for water.
that's all
Water,
that, there's
wastewater.
no gray area in it. It
Yeah, we-
specifically says
Yeah.
water and wastewater.
I even,
What would you do in Drummond? I mean,
Well,
yeah,
so
yes, I-
We did apply for monies to do a two-cell lagoon. That's the last phase of our sewer project. And so we applied for 3.8 million with that. So, you know, this will just offset it.
Have you heard anything on what you applied for?
No, it just was July 15th was the deadline to get it in. No,
This is really.
not yet. Well, it's a lot.
So you guys applied through the competitive grant programs, both of you
Yes.
first, because I know Mako is recommending for counties, before counties are giving anything to towns through their minimum allocations, that the towns are applying for through the competitive
Yeah,
program
we-
first, and you see
absolutely
the results of that before you allocate.
and I did talk to some folks, and, because I was real confused too about the definitions of water and wastewater, because I thought, well, the county, they have a lot of needs with respect to the dam, for example, and I thought, well, maybe that would make sense for them. But then I realized that, and I was told that, no, it's not, and it says right at the bottom, not for dam.
It does, it's like starting.
Which I would have been, if it would have been, it would have made sense for you guys to go after for the dam, so I didn't initially, when I looked at it initially, I was like, oh, I don't know, they've got their needs too, and then subsequently I found out that it can't be used for the dam, so it just makes sense, given what we have going on with both water and wastewater, and it's not, and obviously, we're not passive about this, we're going gangbusters to get what we can through our own particular jurisdiction.
Yes, what bothers me is that 164 that we got a match. If we don't have the county, how's the county gonna help?
Well, and I think this starting conversation, then I think we go back and do some more homework. Talk to our engineers and go, okay, this is a concern, so come back up and visit you guys again, have answers for you.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. This is like the initial,
I just hate to see all the money go to engineers.
yeah,
So
I know,
like-
I know you don't have no choice.
This, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Go
but,
ahead.
you know,
My fault. I
No,
should've-
you're fine. It's
I just
cool.
am so still kind of confused.
Yeah, I am too.
And this group of money that we're gonna ask for you. And it's in-kind money that has to match it, right?
So they're
So-
saying there's 500,000, but of the 164,000 has to be mapped. It's addition to that.
It's a,
In
So it could-
addition to
But that
that.
could be in, my understanding is labor from the town crews, if the
county.
county crews did any work on it.
Jeff, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is this the in-kind coming from the towns and not from the county?
That's still a question on whether if
That's
may come
where
in and
I was
ask.
going with it, was trying to figure out
Yeah.
how is the county gonna get. If we gotta pay 164 to get 500,
Well-
how do we get?
To apply for that, to be fair with, I mean, that's where we go with it, is to have that information for you to say, this chunk of money that is matching, this is where we're gonna get it from. So,
And it would come to the county from the cities, the matching in-kind funds. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, but theoretically, yeah, this is the opening discussion
Yeah,
for that, but,
right.
and you guys are doing the responsible thing, looking at the 164. And
absolutely.
I'm way into figuring all that out here in the very near term. As Billy
Right.
indicated, we're not under a big time pressure, but I thought we should at least have the opening conversation about it. And if that sum of money is sitting there and ultimately doesn't get used, then it goes somewhere else. And so.
So it's like a Department of Commerce. Have you ever, have you guys ever done any of those ones? Like with Better Logs in Drummond. It was exactly the same thing. It had to go through the town. We got administration fees from it, but there was matching, but that was within. That was on him. I mean, obviously, that was a private business. This is a municipality, but it's on that same line.
Yeah, we are doing the one with Kettler Medical, except there's not a match on that. one.
Right,
So
yeah.
the fund will go through. just
They
like
have
that.
to go through, because this is just set up for county.
So
Also,
we need a motion to proceed with this.
I don't know if they're asking for it now or you.
I
or
think
come
I'd
back
rather
first.
have more, I don't wanna make.
Well,
I don't understand.
Everybody's gonna have to do homework on
I don't think we need a motion right away, I think we need a little more info, I'm lost. I understand what they're needing and they need us to help to get it. I guess I'm concerned about the 164 that we got to match right away, what do we take that out?
it. Right,
You know, it's stuff like that, I
Sure.
just, and it's not that I'm against none, it's
Yeah.
just that I'm totally lost on this.
Because if this is delegated just for the towns, because we don't have any wastewater or sewer water or anything county-wise,
right.
then we couldn't match it with funds from any of our funds, right? Because it's not gonna be our money, we're giving it to you guys. I'm still,
Yeah,
see what I mean?
yeah, and I totally understand that. So I guess at this point, this is our initial opening discussion on it. The primary question is, who will be responsible? Are the towns to be responsible for the match? That's the primary
Yes,
question at the moment,
yes,
which is 164K.
Yes,
And so I guess what Gail and I put our heads together, we'll talk to our respective councils, we'll talk to our consultants and say, hey, how does this look? And we'll look at our books and figure out, and if you folks come back and say, yeah, we're totally into this, we'll do it, but you guys better come up with a match. I'm just putting scenarios
Yeah.
out there. That's one real primary question that I'm
Yeah.
observing here. If you think in the near term, if there's anything else, talk with Billy and your attorney and so forth, you might come back to us with 3 or 4 or half a dozen questions.
Sure.
That I feel as though that's our obligation to answer that, since we're presenting the project.
That's what I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have a motion.
Yeah.
And I
don't think it's necessary.
It's not necessary, it's just that initial conversation of, would you think about, because this is designated only for this.
Right, and that was our primary thing, and I could actually see coming back to you folks in a couple of weeks with a sort of outline of like, okay, here's what we missed.
Yeah.
So this means this, and this, and here's the prospective plan considering the matching funds. Here's how we'll put together. It'd be like an outline of some sort of proposal. Does that make sense?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then you guys can get something that in this weird, I mean, it's like lifting 100 pounds of Jello, this stuff. It's just like
Right, and-
squishes out everywhere, but we understand that we need to follow up on some of this stuff too. I guess this is just the open salvo. Explain to you folks and thank you that the stuff is available.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Because,
Not to confuse it, but if you wanna join up on the broadband project, we could.
Yeah,
look
I
at
need to
that,
reach
too.
out for makeover
Yeah.
somewhere.
It's definitely an issue with courthouse internet. Sometimes you get on my laptop and it's unstable sometimes.
Right.
Or Zoom, you know.
and,
So,
and that's another one, chunk of money just for broadband,
Yeah,
nothing else.
So and that would be county, coming to the county, but the county could allocate to the city.
could,
I gotta do more. research
yeah,
on
maybe
that.
a little more research, but
What we needed
we
in
could,
the,
I think even join up potentially on.
That's where you're
Yeah.
going on this, and the more that we can do this stuff, more that we combine our forces, I'm way into that, you know what I mean? I'll do the extra work that it involves. And like, consult with you, Blaine, and figure out how we can like help each other along on this.
I think it benefits, yeah, use those funds to benefit. the town.
It's apples and oranges with some of these, with this money, you have to almost be a rocket scientist to figure it all out.
And it
before you
changes
set
every week.
It does, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing, is it
Yeah,
does
look
change.
into it a while, and, you know, we're just seeing this and what we have to match, and there's so much still there.
Okay, public comment. I see Elena's on. Elena?
Thank you. This is confusing. I'm still confused listening to this. Why don't, just a suggestion, why don't you have somebody from Mako come and explain it and answer and be available to answer questions? Because from what I've heard, it's kind of different from what I've been hearing now. So let's get to the bottom of it and get somebody from Mako who apparently understands this. That's my suggestion.
I don't know if they necessarily need to be here, but we can, cause if we need to, we can research and consult with them and definitely get the answers.
But then questions come up and just like now, it seems like Billy has, talked to them, whatever, and we're still confused. So to have somebody, or they can do it remotely and answer questions.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny. I don't know. Am I saying something funny? I don't know.
Who's laughing? No one's laughing.
I was.
Oh, all right. Who's the laughing police? Are you the laughing police? Come on, Elena.
Oh, no. Scott was also laughing too. I don't know what's so funny.
I know what.
No.
For me, Elena, this is government. Government, this is the prime example. That's why I'm laughing, because every project I have ever done, it's like this, so.
I know it's government, but we're the taxpayers and the public, that's where the money is coming from. It's not a gift from the federal government. Where does the federal government get the money? From the taxpayers, or they just put a notation in the books, which is happening a lot with this administration. Money out of nothing. So, yeah, I'd like answers also, exactly where the money is coming from or where it's going, because I heard that. All right, does Granite County already get $500,000? Is that from the ARPA accounts?
No, that went to the state, Elena. And then the county can apply for a grant.
So I'm under the impression that each county already has a designated amount.
They do from the Department of Treasury. There's actually, Elena, if you wanna go to, it's arpa.mt.gov. The governor actually set up an ARPA state website to kind of explain some of these funds that are coming through the state to counties and towns, because it's so confusing.
Well, maybe the commissioner should also go to it, because it seems like everybody's confused. Okay,
It's confusing.
I was involved with it also with the Big Sky Rail. Okay, if you remember, there was an amount that we formulated that each county that are members can use from the ARPA funds. If you recall. So I don't know, there's answers out there, and I think we should have somebody who knows what this is about address the questions. That's all. But then again, I'm just the public. Thank you. You can mute me now.
I mean, we get somebody from Mako if they actually understand it and get them on Zoom or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is when we initially came in, only because generally speaking, we were aware of the availability of this particular pot of money that came through House Bill 632, that was assigned as a direct potential payment to counties restricted to sewer and water. We understand that. That's a separate pot of money in a bigger, huge, a bunch of money. So we just isolated this out. And Gail and I are more than happy to do our homework and ask and get some answers on related questions to Matthew and that whole sort of thing. And so I guess in the next couple of weeks, we'll get on the agenda and let you know what we find out. And in the interim, I'll use whatever availability I have to people and try to get some answers through MMIA and some of these Montana League of Cities and Towns. They have a lot of information there too. And we'll try to distill exactly what it is and what the restrictions are and what we can do with it, so.
And I have some people that I email back and forth with that may go pretty back and forth.
I think that there's probably a potential to do a short couple of paragraphs that isolate out specifically what we're talking about and how it doesn't relate to any of this other stuff. And so the county, well, I thought the county got this payment, they did. Oh, I thought they got that payment, they did. But this is something totally different, right? And so I think that's the problem, is we need to make the distinction and make it clear.
In honestly, what I've taken to do is start building a diagram.
Yeah.
Because visual, people can understand a visual better word. That is a separate fund. No, you can point to it. Nope, it has nothing to do with wastewater and water.
Yeah, we're engaged in that right now. We're putting together kind of a big spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
And then in a flow chart.
Yep.
Because I'm into the visual.
So them 3 things or 6 things on there, what they can be used for?
Yeah, so these are all the different, this is the arpa.mt.gov. It is, it's a really useful site. These are all the different things that ARPA can be used for. So if we go to like the water sewer, this is kind of where it can break down some of House Bill 632. You can go to the competitive grant program, which is what they both applied under. You can go to the minimum allocation grant program, which is where I was a second ago. You can see the qualifying water projects, sewer projects. You can scroll down. You can see the map that I was at a minute ago, go to our county to see what amount we get, what our match is.
Maybe next week, if a person just have that on some paper to look at it, it'd be easier for me than trying to.
I'd like to make a comment. Thank you, Bill. I commend you on your research for the commission. And we didn't understand, but that's why we have you. And you explained it very well, and now we understand. And I think, yes, we want to work with the cities to receive this. And more research naturally is needed to be done, but we're doing that right here, is from what I can understand,
Exactly.
having this discussion. I just thank you, Billy, and thank you for doing your job to help the commission understand.
Yeah.
We appreciate you listening to us, and we'll move this forward. And I think ultimately, I know it's kind of confusing right now. I think we'll straighten it out, and to the benefit of everyone. So I know that this is there's a strange times we're living in, but I think it's incumbent upon us to try to get what we can get with respect to our towns and our county, and then move forward from this stuff, because it's just a unique set of circumstances.
It will with wastewater, it will benefit the county as far as sewer dumping. Septic tanks and that, down the road it will, it's gonna take time to do it, plug it away,
If there is an opportunity to do it, we need to do it.
absolutely.
The one certainty is that everything is just gonna get more expensive.
Yes.
As time goes on, so we might as well strike while the iron's hot, that's kind of my attitude, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
everything else.
Yep.
All right,
Too.
we appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
We'll be in touch here.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you for your research.
Don't smile.
Yes.
Have a good event.
Yeah, that broadband. Oh,
As long as we get our 60,
Yeah.
as long as we get our 650,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Courthouse. That broadband. It's from everyone in town.
Okay, now is the time for potential fire restrictions.
I got a comment on that. I think, instead of waiting for week to week, if we get a call that we should, go with what the recommendation and like a person could get a hold of the chairman, Commissioner Hinkle, and we'll go ahead and just leave it, so we ain't waiting. Cause a lot of people say, well, you guys haven't made a motion or nothing to follow through. I said, by emergency before, we'd call each other and just say, yeah, we're at stage 2, go to 3 if we have to, but instead of waiting that week, that might put our county in jeopardy, for a fire or something. I think that say today, if they went to stage 3 and we were out of here, that if they called in, we could all make a,
So it's 1 and 2 is my understanding.
Yeah, what's
You're at
stage
1.
3?
You're at 1 now.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
we're in
counties
one.
went to 2 already, and then we're one of the last ones, and then they're talking 3. I'm just saying, instead of us waiting a week, if the state started doing it, if we could just. follow
What's stage 3 though?
Shut down.
Totally.
No,
I-
we're a long ways from there.
No, not. I don't think so. Maybe with that rain will slow it down last night, but I see it. After talking to a couple waters in Bozeman, they're over there pushing for 3 right now. They're drier than us too, but I guess.
The loggers are pushing for it? Or
The states, they're just worried. I know Parks has got food owl, and then they're talking like next week, maybe shut her down, so.
is Lolo at 2? Because, but what's Beaverhead? They're
Just,
1.
I thought they were 1.
They're 1 this weekend.
I thought they
there
were
was a
1.
whole bunch of them on the news last night. I never wrote them down or nothing. They went to 2. I just was saying that instead of us waiting a week, if we had to, we could just go ahead and make whatever.
I think you need to, my encouragement would be if you're gonna go to 2, like during the week, is that set a special meeting and come in though. Cause you have to sign the resolution, and it should take 2 of you on the minutes, so, I think, I think you could talk to each other, because it's an emergency, but then come in on a special meeting.
So you want me to stay at 1 then?
I'm not pushing for what you do, I just think if you're gonna change it during the week. you should-
No, I'd say 1. We might get a lot of rain here this afternoon and tomorrow. It'd be a shame to go to 2 and then have everything wet down.
Remember, this is just private lands under your jurisdictions, and Forest Service and DNRC, they can control their lands.
Is that showing 4 fires in Granite
Yeah,
County?
Granite County, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you click on it and tell you about them. This one is the Anderson Hill Fire.
That's better, man.
Yeah. That's growing to 599 acres.
Pretty much stable.
Now, I'd like to get more information on like that fire. The Forest Service called me up on Sunday night and briefs me on all the fires in Granite County, except for that, under their control. And I want to say that they did an excellent job on the McDougal Gulch fire.
Where's that at the?
It's up on my place.
Oh, okay.
And I had a bird's eye view of it, and they hit that thing, and I was impressed. And it must be good if I was impressed.
Well, these fires aren't human caused, any of them, are they? It's all lightning or what?
No, it's like,
Yeah, the McDougal one says undetermined.
Yeah, that's it.
oh, it was lightning. I saw it hit in there. I mean, it was just pounding down over
Yeah.
there.
I'm staying in the seat. Oh, Elena has.
So we're gonna leave it at 1 for now. Oh. Lana?
Yes, it's me again. Thank you very much. There's two websites, links. I can forward them to you. Has all the information, the status reports, the incidences and everything. That's from the, I forget which department it is.
Well,
from.
if you're talking NC Web, it's not up to date. Or
Well,
what?
there's another one. There's two of them that have the information. And another suggestion is if in a case of an emergency, you can do like Scott mentioned. He said he watched it on the news. A lot of the counties are contacting the local news on television and saying there's going to be an emergency meeting tonight. And then they can be discussed if there is an emergency in the county. That's a suggestion. Thank you.
Billy has one of those websites open there.
Mhm.
That's weird.
And I have it posted on our website too, links to that as well as like whatever stage you guys set us at. I post there too. I also posted pictures on our website of some of the photos that Sheriff Bunkerson took when they were doing evacuations. that he sent me.
I think maybe the sheriff should keep us more informed. Because he had evacuations up there on, by Garnett, and
I talked to him, Chuck, and I did try calling the phone, and I talked to Blanche about putting up the closure signs. I did try to get a hold of him, and we went ahead and just said, put up your closure signs. He didn't stop me on the road, so that was day of it, so. It was, I mean, I think he's been so busy with other shit that he just. There's a lot going on, not just with the fires, he's got some others.
Yeah, there's a guy down in Rock Creek causing problems down there. They're busy, getting lots of calls. But
That's why I called Maria from the BLM and find out, because they're the ones in charge of that fire up there, BLM, because they're the ones who control Ghost Town. She was pretty good, I can give you her number too.
okay, so we'll leave it at stage 1 for now and see what happens and have an emergency meeting if we need it.
it's good to ring this afternoon too, or just tomorrow?
Who's Jackie seeing?
Guess we're off to 11:15. Okay, it's time for public comment. And we'll take care of correspondence. Or
There's that letter that we had that we're gonna have Jeremiah look into it, Chuck, a little better, so we understand that 22,000 up to 68.
And I sent him an email, so
It's-
For Third Thursday.
Very much.
Contract just needs modify a little bit to explain, this is what they're doing for this amount, it's gonna be over, if FERC's gonna come back and require more, then probably just renegotiating a contract at that point, because it's, or a change order at that point.
Well, and that's the thing, and you don't want to allow triple in your budget if you're not gonna need it, but if you're gonna need it, you have to have it budgeted.
I would encourage you to have more budgeted, because
Just for this, for that. This one right here.
it's
So
a. almost
we're gonna be
assured
totally
that
broke
FERC
after
will come-
this again.
Yes, we
Going
do.
on with
If we
negotiations.
went up to
with-
68, we spent 68 on that, and then,
Well, they got to there.
They want to meet in person, so we gotta come up with it maybe a Tuesday afternoon that works for Scott
With,
with the union. But the unions are asking for they're upset with how much the cost of living was. And like, even Mako says it's 1.8 and it's way higher than that even. It's hurting us. That's where their issue is, cost of living. I came back and said that's what the private citizens on the compensation board gave for elected officials, until the commission gave that to everyone. Not trying to injure anyone, it's a help.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I say, that's why I've been kind of dragging my feet, I guess. They piss me off, so I guess. The little comments, so, well, we'll just, there are a bunch of us gonna quit, well then quit.
Well, quit then. I'll bet you there'd be
Well, they
someone
shouldn't
else
be
coming.
mentioning anything about them, should be, should not be, they shouldn't be saying anything about
And I tell them, don't talk to me,
it, yeah.
talk to your boy. Well, other than that, I don't know much, just make a motion or minutes.
minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the board minutes for July 13th, 2021.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Run.
Seeing no public comment, let's go. We're adjourned.
Okay, you know that Lance Sneaks, what's we on?
Lance needs, yeah.